Logic and Reason starts now. Salutations, everyone. Welcome to the show tonight. I'm your host, Evo Prima. I'm joined by Mel Melissa. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I think we have a new schedule now. I think today we were supposed to start at 8, but we ended up starting at 9 today. We had a couple of things we had to get done with. We have normal lives outside of the show. But we are here. We're excited to be here with you guys.
Yes, we missed you.
Yeah, it's been a whole week.
It's been a whole week from the live shows, of course. I know you've been catching up with all of our short clips.
Yes, we have now started to do short clips. So for those who don't have the patience to sit and listen to my voice for a whole hour, we have broken it down to 5 to 20 minutes. And 20 minutes is like the longest clip that we've posted.
Okay.
Something like that.
Fair enough.
Yes. So welcome to Logic and Reason, where we discuss topics that impact society and to try to seek and understand the knowledge and reasoning behind our actions. We record. Actually, we don't record. We do each show live nowadays. And so each reaction is unedited and unfiltered. If this interests you, then, I'm going to have to ask you to like and subscribe. Naturally.
And tap the notification bell.
Tippity tap tap.
Yep.
So, today I wanted to go into a different direction. I really, really wanted to dive into the teenagers of Chicago playing out Lord of the Flies in real life, terrorizing people and causing mischief and mayhem in the land. I also wanted to dive a little bit into the college girls who are wilding out and playing MMA knockout matches at the Orange Crush Festival in Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to Florida. But unfortunately, some breaking news hit that pushed all those stories aside. And that is I wouldn't call him a friend, but I can't call him acquaintance either. Person.
Okay.
Mr. Tucker Carlson.
Oh, dear Tucker.
Yes. So today's show, we're going to be talking about the fall of the old guard. Right, we saw a lot of these names, Tucker, Don Lemon, get tossed away and dropped into the commentator graveyard. So we're going to get into it. So at this point, you've probably seen a lot of tweets on the Twitter, the tweeters.
Oh, yeah. Massive, extensive tweets, firestorms.
Yes.
Lots of reactions.
I've experienced people at work wanting to come up to me and almost celebrate it like it's 4th of July, like it's like some type of, like almost like everyone's celebrating Eid or something.
Oh, is that the sentiment?
Really excited.
For a man being fired.
Yes.
Come on, people.
Well, look, he to a lot of folks out there, he is the face of Satan. He is like the embodiment of, what do they call it? The far right. That's what they view him as. He is the disciple that spreads the message. Right?
Right.
So Mr. Tucky, this will give you guys some backstory here. He became a prominent personality after replacing Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, another favorite. Another fan favorite.
Another tremendously favorite. Bill O'Reilly. And the reason why he had to have his departure is because he had a stream of sexual harassment allegations.
Oh, dear.
Whether they were real or not, who knows? He looks like a creepy old man, so it's kind of believable. I don't know the actual facts of the case.
Okay.
So,
I was going to say
but, he looks creepy, so maybe he just looked at somebody wrong and, allegation.
Yeah. Was this during the time of the whole Me Too movements? And
this was on the very beginning of it.
Oh, The Verge. He got swept up in there.
He got the first taste of it before everybody else got. So if you guys don't know, Fox News has been dealing with a defamation lawsuit brought by Dominion Voting Systems. And so they recently just agreed to settle for $787.5 million. So it doesn't mean
Chump
that.
change.
Yes. Now, settling doesn't mean that they pleaded guilty to any defamations. They just said, you know what, we're done with this lawsuit, so here's some money.
We want the fighting to stop.
Leave me alone.
Okay.
Yes. So that's really all that means when somebody settles. There's no it's not like a criminal case where somebody's guilty. Civil lawsuits are
and
not.
settling would definitely assert that you're guilty in a criminal case.
Yes, but
Okay.
in civil, it doesn't work like that.
Okay.
All right, so Rupert Murdoch's son, which his first name I have a hard time pronouncing, so I'm not going to try, and Miss Scott came to this agreement Friday evening. The staffers were in preparation for the show on Monday, right? They had no idea, but these two were like, "Hey, you know what? That Tucker dude, let's get rid of him, right? Let's do that." So they just abruptly canceled his show, right? Carlson finds out Monday morning, right? Yesterday, the same time, almost the same time that the public finds out, right? And so you have a fury of all these different news articles. And of course, CNN and MSNBC and all these guys are just loving it. They're just eating it up. They're just, oh, give me more Tucker. Yes. Nom, 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 nom. Right?
Yeah.
They're all about it.
And I wouldn't consider them news, but the View ladies were cheering on in excitement.
It's a celebration.
They did a wave.
They did an actual wave?
Yeah, Whoopi started the wave.
That's unfortunate.
She said, okay, we're going to talk about it more tomorrow. Because I guess they had their whole thing planned, of course, and they didn't want to deviate. But let's go ahead and do a wave first.
That's wild. Tucker's show is by far the highest rated show out of a lot of his competitors. Within the lawsuit that Fox News just recently settled, he was a prominent fixture in that lawsuit. Basically, they were accusing him of spreading misinformation during the 2020 election, giving credibility to false voter fraud claims.
Okay.
In addition to that, Mr. Carlson is also the focal point in another lawsuit by his former senior booking producer, Abby Grossberg, who she actually has filed 2 lawsuits, not against him. One's against him, and then the other is against actual Fox News.
Oh, one's not enough. Let's go 2. Okay.
Let's go 2. Right now, she accuses Carlson and Fox of sexism and harassment. Now, this one...
We're going to see some common themes tonight, guys, of sexism accusations.
Well, let me finish her part. So,
yes.
She alleged that the show's workplace was a hedonistic type of environment of misogyny.
Huh.
Right? Her lawsuit claims that, among other things, the mocking up of a photographic image of then Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, in a bathing suit, revealing her cleavage. And that staffers were polled on who would they rather have relations with in, I guess, the Michigan governor race. I haven't read the complaint document of these lawsuits, so I have no idea, or I haven't watched any of the actual trials either. So I have no idea if anything is based off of reality or not. We had a source say that she had no contact with Tucker at all. Supposedly she worked in the New York location, and Tucker mainly spends most of his time either in Maine or in Florida. So never saw Tucker. Anyway,
Strange.
Very strange. So after she started filing these lawsuits, Fox News said, you know what? Instead of taking this as an opportunity to have dialogue with Abby, what we're going to do is we're going to just fire you on the spot.
Uh-oh. It might have pissed her off.
Let's go ahead and
even
just
further.
Boom. We're going to cut ties. Now, their reasoning for that is they said that she disclosed privileged information amidst the actual litigation with the defamation lawsuit that they were dealing with that was not legally entitled to make public. So that was their
Well,
justification.
you can't
for
do that.
If you've signed a non-disclosure,
Then you can't. No, I mean, like, she can't do that. Yeah, if you signed it. Yeah, I'm saying she's the one who's not able to do that
correct?
legally.
Yes.
You can, obviously, that she did, but you have ramifications, as we see now.
Yes. So if she tried to file another lawsuit for like wrongful termination, that might not be very successful, depending on what paperwork she signed and what her contract says. So I'm saying a lot of law stuff. I want to emphasize that I am not an attorney.
You are a resident legal expert, though. For tonight, I'm dubbing you. Yeah.
You're the one that went to law school.
Oh, dear. Thank you.
I just happened to work for a law firm. But anyway.
Theory versus practice. I appreciate the shout out, though. Thank you.
I just wanted to make sure that people didn't get, take what I say for entertainment purposes and not for legal advice.
Well, feel free to shout back at us in the text, in the chats. I mean,
yes.
If you ever think there's too much jargon, hey, y'all speak layman terms. Hello, whatever in your own, whatever you feel like saying.
Yes. Now, this cancellation is going to be very impactful to Fox News. I mean, I don't know how you replace somebody like a Tucker Carlson. He is your main star, your main dude. He brought in $77.5 million in advertising revenue last year.
Good luck with them trying to replace that immediately.
Yeah, right. And just to give you guys context, Anderson Cooper's show on CNN in roughly around the same time slot, he brought in $50 million, right? Chris Haynes from MSNBC, he brought in about $30 million. Sean Hannity on the Fox News show, he brought in 50. So nobody's ranking in the numbers that Mr. Carlson was ranking in. And immediately on Monday, as soon as the news started coming out and Twitter went nuts, the stock price for Fox went down by 3%. So yeah, they're feeling the heat right now. But I think a lot of people's celebrations and or distraughtness, right, whatever side of the spectrum you happen to be on for this, is a little overblown. Because if we remember, Fox News let go of Glenn Beck, they let go of Bill O'Reilly, Megyn Kelly,
and maybe that's what's fueling their arrogance. Is
that maybe they think we are Fox, we're bigger than any single personality, so who cares, right? We can let go of anybody. Maybe that's what they're thinking. Immediately, today we found out that Tucker received an invitation to join the far right outlet One America News, which I have no idea what that is, or even if it's an actual news outlet. Since it's so small, I seriously doubt that he would actually join that. And I also am noticing that a lot of personalities from Blaze Media, like Jason Whitlock for the Fearless Show, and also Glenn Beck, are capitalizing on this opportunity to further discredit Fox News and possibly gain market share, right? Because they are in the same camp as far as conservative talk, but they're kind of competitors in a way.
Yeah.
So maybe Glenn's like, hey, let me use this as an opportunity to say, hey, Fox News is trash. And if you really want conservative stuff, you need to come over here. Come over to Blaze, right? Maybe that's his play. For the people who are really celebrating and thinking that, since Tucker's gone, people who really enjoy conservative content they're finally gonna just become liberals now. That's not a thing.
Oh, thank God! There's no more.
It's not
conservative news for them now.
That's
they have to go to. They're going to become one of us. When
will liberal people learn that silencing voices is not going to fix the problem? You think that, if we get rid of an Andrew Tate, if we get rid of, somebody that we don't agree with, right, who has a big following, if we just cut that person's platform, that the ideas themselves are going to just disappear.
That's exactly it.
No, they're going to find other avenues. They're going to find other platforms to absorb that content if that's something that they really want. So, how about this? How about you focus your energy on making a good case.
That would be one option.
Why don't you go talk to people? And if your platform is so great, right, why don't you, talk to people about your platform instead of trying to beat people upside the head with submission? That's not how that works. That never worked for me.
No?
No, absolutely not. You're gonna agree with me. I'm like, no.
They've been trying.
They've tried hard. They've tried really hard.
And now they're resorting to, okay, well, we're going to have to just flood the media with just our side and shut the other people up and not let them talk.
That's not it.
And then people will join us.
It's not it.
I don't have to make a convincing argument because I'm shutting off the other side.
That's not how things work.
It's really not, though.
All that does is just it creates more fighting. Right? You didn't actually convince anybody of anything. And you think, if all you can hear is my garbage, then eventually you start believing my garbage. No, that just means that you just resent the person who's talking.
And it's still garbage. It's still garbage. It's not like, okay, because you're the only one here. Now I'm like, oh, this is great content. It's like, no. Now I just have to listen to you. Or I could just shut it off.
Right. So
they can shut both of those off and come into logic and reason.
So this is very interesting. I would like to give Tucker his flowers.
Aw, farewell flowers, or what kind of flowers are you giving him?
Goodbye, Tucker. He's probably not going to go away forever. I think he's going to probably resurface in some other form.
Well, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What do you see in store for him? Big media again, to another big major network, or do you think independent media?
He can go in several different directions.
Maybe taking away time from the spotlight.
He could either create his own platform, like what Glenn Beck did.
Okay.
Right, he could do that, or he could join another organization. Maybe he can join, like Ben Shapiro has his whole camp with Daily Wire, right?
Yep.
And he's gobbled up a lot of big names. He gobbled up Jordan Peterson. That was a huge W for Ben.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a surprising move because I didn't think that Jordan Peterson was a conservative like that. So that was interesting. But maybe Jordan was looking at it as an opportunity to just amplify his voice.
Yeah. Maybe not in the way that they are conservative, like the religious side.
I don't think it is.
But as far as like maybe being able to freely say what he wanted to say.
Yes, I think you just hit it on the nail on the head on that one. They had a common enemy, right? They both had an enemy of the people who are trying to push the pronoun stuff.
Yeah.
And so you were able to get them through that avenue. But I don't think you guys are in line like that.
No.
And I hope he stays independent, like, an independent thinker, and not just bend to the fold.
Well, I don't know. That network likes to control people.
They do. But we're not going to talk about them like that.
Of course not. Of course not. I don't want any of that.
Well, they can bring it. I don't have anything. So it's like, if they want to attack me, that's fine.
That's true. I'm not on contract.
I'm not on contract either. So that's fine.
I wouldn't sign their contracts.
Absolutely not. I would not. It's a hard pass. But yes, that's...
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. So yeah, I see him either doing that or he's probably taking a break. I mean, he's stacked. I think he's worth $30 million. So, he can afford to take a break, go on his whatever property he owns in Maine. I don't know what you do in Maine, but there's a lot of trees up there. So maybe he's a nature guy.
Okay.
He's friends with Trump. So, maybe he can hang out with Trump in Mar-a-Lago. That's an option. I don't know. But if I was him, I would probably just take a break, just chill for a bit. Maybe go on like a month-long trip to Europe or Asia or Africa or somewhere. Well, not for him. Most white people don't go to Africa like that. So,
Well, if he wants a true nature, he might want to get on there.
Oh, safari. Yeah, he can't do the safari thing.
Yeah. I know I saw a picture of him in the hill country recently, so.
What was he doing in Texas?
Oh, I didn't tell. Okay, I thought I told you about that. I saw the picture with him and my mentors. So he probably just went to visit them or something.
So
or maybe they went, unless they were over in his area.
So do you have like a special lunch date with this guy?
What are you talking about?
Well, you're the plug. You said you had all these connections.
You have all the connections.
I don't have nothing. Nobody knows who I am.
He's holding it back, y'all. We'll get into his political history later, but
That's funny. Now,
look who's ready to move on to the next.
you did a little research on...
We're done with Tucker? Okay, that was really the flowers. You're saying goodbye.
That was it for him.
All right.
I'm not going to spend all day talking about that dude. But Mr.
Yes, let's get on to the black folks.
Mr. Don, lemon drop lemon. What do you have for him?
Oh, we have a lot. We have a lot, folks. No, I don't know if it's a lot. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. I prefer to do the opposite. Right now, as you see on my screen here, I have Don Lemon, CNN anchor fired after 17 years on network.
Oh.
This is from BBC. And I won't bore you through reading all of these things that I have up here for you, but we have to go through kind of a short history, more recent history of what has been happening, because people have been wondering, well, how after 17 years did this man get fired?
Okay.
What's been going on? What did he do? What did he not do? What did they do?
Isn't he gay too?
Yes.
So now that's surprising. Him being black, you can get fired. That makes sense. But him being gay.
Shout out to Malcolm. Thanks. Yes, the lunch date. Exactly.
I think that's very surprising.
So because of the liberal side. Yeah, well, they have their check marks and their check boxes, but maybe we'll have some more understanding, because I think kind of like Tucker, people have to realize, and Don Lemon has to realize, they still work for a big entity. So you have freedom as far as the network can throw you. I mean, you have been there for 17 years, but you don't get to just say whatever you want to say. It's not your show. It's not your personal podcast. He might have been under that impression, and I think I'll go ahead and go to this clip first so we can kind of see what he had been doing, and then we'll come back to this article.
Okay.
So bear with me, guys. I tried to clean up my screen from last time, but let's go ahead and play that.
You got it?
If the audio is on. It is? Yep, audio check. Let's go. Let's roll. And
no, that's a no-go.
That's a no-go. Okay, well, hold on 1 second. I think that I'm having malfunction. That really sucks, because it really was kind of good here for that. But if we can at least look through the visuals.
Start pushing and playing again.
I will chat through that. That's so interesting. All right. Well,
what is he talking about?
If we can pan out, I will go back to what I was saying before.
What is he talking about? What was the video talking about?
Well, really, I didn't want to show what he's talking about. I wanted to show the difference of what happened. Okay, what happened in his tenure with CNN. Like, in his previous era, he had his own night show.
Okay.
He had his own night show, and it was a whole different setup than what we are used to today. And so, that's weird. Okay, I'm going to try here in this section, but I just want to see what's going on with my computer. Yeah.
Try it.
All right. Nope, and my audio is not working tonight. I should even jinx it, because usually it works just fine. But basically, I have some clips. So I want to show everybody some clips, just looking at, and I'll just narrate as we go. First, we have him showing the vanished Malaysia Airlines, right? He has other interviews with Morgan Freeman. He has interviews with Mike Tyson. Some other ones, I think Spike Lee comes up next. Yep. And basically, Don Lemon had his own show. Sorry for the delay, y'all. Don Lemon had his own show where he was a star. It was the main event. It was an evening show. It was from 9 p.m. to midnight, or 10 p.m. to midnight, and people tune in to see him. He got to say whatever he wanted to say. He got to do whatever he wanted to do on there. I mean, to an extent, and he got to speak about race relations and everything. And then, I think about 6 months ago, they transferred him over to be on a show with 2 other co-hosts during the day, a morning show.
So basically, he got demoted.
He got demoted.
He's on because prime time is the evening hours.
They took that away from him.
Okay, so maybe this firing thing is not out of, just random, because usually if he got demoted to daytime, then that means his ratings probably weren't that great, or they just didn't like him for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
You can try to go to speakers.
Right here. The top one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, guys. More technical difficulties.
Well, don't worry about that. Just kind of go through.
But basically, then we have, of course, so that's what it was. Okay. Because I didn't know how to do my settings.
Yes, because you don't know how to use computers.
No, I actually went through a great lengths to take off stuff off the screen and not have the tab showing. And in doing that and allowing my computer to restart, right. That's how we got here, guys. So we have Poppy and Caitlin. Caitlin is co-host. And this is just a brief thing of him and them with their new show.
Good morning, everyone. What happened on Capitol Hill last week? Those are migrants sleeping on the street of El Paso.
It is being called Brazil's January 6th. CNN this morning, weekdays at 6 Eastern.
Poppy's a terrible name.
It was like a childhood nickname or something.
Nah, it's so
and then
bad.
It stuck.
It didn't stick to me. I didn't like it.
Wow. But basically, he had his own show. And then he goes to the daytime show with stay-at-home moms are there, but in the house and doing their thing. And I think the primetime feel, he kept that and tried to bring it over to the morning show. But now you're sharing, right? You're sharing with two co-hosts. You should be talking about daytime type of issues because, they're home with their kids. They're doing some things, and maybe you might touch on some issues that might be a little risque, but it's not like the prime time thing where he was talking about protests and he's getting to interview people, famous entertainers and everything. So early in February, this is one of the things they're saying maybe an issue. He claimed that, people title it here as Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime, but really, he just stated that women in their 20s, women aren't considered to be in their prime, except for maybe 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s. And he got a lot of backlash for this.
Now, what is the context of this conversation?
Exactly. So on the show, it was brought up because Nikki Haley has declared her run for her candidacy for president.
Okay.
And she asserted that there should be, and I'm trying to say this without laughing, that there should be a competency test, cognitive test, actually, rather, for candidates who are 75 years and older. And
What's wrong with that?
Who do you think that goes to right now?
Well, I had this conversation with a coworker earlier today. I was very disappointed to hear that Joe Biden is running for re-election.
Okay, disappointed.
Because he shouldn't have ran the first time. 2, he can barely walk by himself without being assisted. He always has to get escorted off the stage because he completely forgets where he is a lot of times. And he's always on the verge of falling. He can't get through most of his scripts. And if he's doing all this stuff publicly, I can't imagine what he's like in the Oval Office, in these meetings with these people, in the actual job itself. He should be out, retired somewhere, living out what couple of years he has left. He's already past the age of life expectancy for a male. Mm-hmm. He's turning 81 this year.
Yeah. And that's where Don Lemon, I guess, was trying to take to his defense by stating, you're throwing rocks at the elderly, because that would put both him, and actually it also includes Trump.
Don Lemon's 80?
76. No, Don Lemon standing in defense of Biden. I mean, it's liberal media. So
that's stupid.
So it was kind of a reaction.
He's old as dirt. He needs to go home to an old folks home.
Well, basically, it was like a comment like, "Oh, hey, Nikki, you're over here talking about older candidates. Well, women, you're not exactly in your prime."
That's an off-base comment then. That's why I wanted to understand.
It is an off-base comment, but his co-host tried to be like, "Well, in her prime for what?"
And that's what I'm saying for Don. Don deserves an L for that, because we're not talking about. That's why I wanted to ask what the context was. Prime in the sense of dating? We're not even talking about dating. We're talking about presidency, and she's 100% right. This old man should not be running for office, but it's really not his fault. It's the public
For voting.
for actually letting this dude actually run.
Yeah, but isn't it a little ageist?
It's not ageist. He's old as dirt. The dude is barely functional.
Yes, and if I had not seen it for myself,
he is barely functional.
Several speeches where he has fumbled or he's had a hard time. He's misspoken multiple times, which is, I've misspoken multiple times.
The dude is on life support.
But he should. I agree with you. He's about the portion where he should get some rest and enjoy the later years of his life with his family. But I think he really wanted to be president. He really dreamt about it.
And he was.
He finally won after how many times of running and after being in Senate for 40 years.
Cool. I get all that. And when we are now 4 years after that point, right? We're done with that. You lived out your dream and now you can die in peace. Let's not sit here and pretend like the dude has 30 years ahead of him.
It's not to pretend. It's just people have free will to run for office again if they want.
Sure.
And is the Democratic Party going to tell him you can't have the spot?
Yes. The voters. That's what I'm saying. I'm not blaming him. I don't fault people for trying things. Who I fault are the voters for not realizing that this old man should not be in this seat. So that is our L. That is not his L. He's just shooting shots. You guys allowed him to make the basket.
I can't even respond to this right now.
That's what it is. This is ridiculous.
But if he won fair and square.
He did. And that's what I'm saying. It's the voters who took an L. Y'all need to wake up. This dude is barely functional, and you put him in there.
We did put him in office. And we do need a president who is viable, strong, and able to do things. But I told you, though, last week that when he actually I was gonna say during the time of inflation, but the inflation podcast, I told you he seemed like he was going to run again.
And I said, fine, I get that.
He was blowing up.
And all I need people to do is to understand that this man cannot be president.
He doesn't know that, and obviously his staff,
I'm not expecting him to realize he's senile. I don't
that.
expect old senile people to understand anything.
Oh my!
It's not on him. It's on us. Again, I'm not putting the blame on him.
You're not.
The blame is on the public for messing around with this nonsense. So yes, going back to this Don Lemon comment, I think whoever this lady was who said, "What do you mean?" is 100% correct in this based off of what you told me, because for Don, it's an off-base comment. Like, it had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It doesn't have anything to do. You're right.
And that's why I was like, is Don 80?
No.
Like, why is he riding so hard for this dude?
57.
You can't see reality. You can't see this man.
I work for
this
CNN.
Dude almost ran into a bush trying to get to the helicopter.
He continually goes the wrong way after speeches.
He ran into a bush. Like, this man cannot function.
Going the wrong way. Oh man, that was funny.
It was hilarious, but it was sad. At first it was funny.
No, at first it was funny because I didn't realize he was senile.
And now it's like, oh, that's our president. Ugh.
Yeah, that's our president, and this poor old man. He's like trying so hard, and he really needs to just be given.
He
a little
needs
bit of a
to be
break.
out going to a park somewhere, feeding ducks,
playing with their grandkids,
feeding people candy. Just messing around with people. Maybe hitting on some young girls and, living out an old man's dream. Going to McDonald's every Monday to get your senior coffee. Like, that's what it's about. Not becoming president and then now having to deal with that stuff. The office already ages people, right? This guy is going to die in office if he wins.
That's why it's up to his family, I think, to let him know to hey, maybe you should just.
And it's up to it's up to everybody, his family, his handlers, his counselors, his cabinet, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Secretary. Everybody needs to say, hey man, sit down. You did it. You lived out your dream. You were president. You will be in the history books, for forever, as long as this country is still in existence, as being a president of the United States. Now go sit your old ass down.
We're going to go to the next clip here with Don. Another issue he had recently.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Last week. And this is with one of the GOP candidates for president.
All right, let's go.
So with due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in So hang on one second. So to say that black.
Can you pause it?
Say
That's not professional to yell into. Well, no, it's not professional to actually talk back to your producer.
Excuse me, can you guys kind of really stop right now? I'm gonna, yeah,
Usually, what you do,
because people aren't even supposed to know they're right in your ear.
yes, like okay, I've caveat here, or not caveat, but full disclosure. I used to work for a TV station. How you handle that on air is you're supposed to pull the thing out of your ear. If they're yelling at you and you can't hear the banter between you and the guest,
Yeah,
just pull it out of your ear. You don't need to talk to them. Like you don't.
that's true.
You don't need, and you should know this. You've been on TV for how long? You're not a rookie.
Yeah, he's not a rookie. 17 years in the game.
All right. So to the who's I don't. Ooh, that's his name.
Yeah, I didn't even try it.
All
Well,
right, so-
I did. Vivek.
Cool. So that guy,
R running for the R can.
Mr. V, is saying that comparing black people today to black people of, I think he said 18. I forgot what the number was.
Pre-Civil War era, or like right after, or something like that.
And his point was that they are the same or different.
Whose point? Don's?
Mr.
Oh,
V.
Vivek. He's saying that they didn't get their rights till after the gun rights were implemented for black people. Like their
Which
full
rights?
rights.
Which rights? Well,
I don't think he didn't get a chance to fully say his rights because Don kept interrupting him, and then he eventually says, I won't play the whole clip. Eventually, he says how you were talking to a black man, an African American man, and telling me about what black people should do and all this stuff, and he wouldn't even let the guy get his point out.
If he's suggesting, I don't know what Don is talking about, right? But I think if he's suggesting that the Second Amendment did not give rights to black Americans, I would have to disagree with that based off of the history.
But he didn't, and that's where Vivek kept going on and saying, "Well, he said it's history, man," and basically that, and they go back and forth. It's not even worth playing.
But it's
the whole
right
thing.
though. I mean,
but Don, this is what the liberal side does, and of course, like we always mentioned, we're not on either side.
Yeah.
But here, he just shut down the conversation. He didn't want to have it. He said, "You don't look like me." He said, "Whatever race you are, you can't tell me about this." And Vivek was like, "Excuse me, I'm an Indo-American person, but it shouldn't have to matter."
Just because you're black doesn't mean that you're right or that you know your own history.
And it doesn't mean
a lot of black people don't know
oh.
their own history.
Okay, you're gonna go there.
I am going to go there. So it's like, the Second Amendment, a lot of people like to attack it, especially now because of all the shootings that are happening, and people are going nuts with the amount of shootings that are happening recently. So I fully agree with, we got to figure out something. I don't know what the issue is. Part of it, I think, is people have lost the ability to problem solve and deal with issues. And so they're just going nuts, and they think the way that I solve this problem is by killing everybody around me. I don't know how we get to that conclusion, but you can't deny the fact that we don't have a civil rights movement if all those guys didn't go over to World War II and fight. Right? That was the first opportunity where black people could leave the country. Because we haven't left the country. Some people took the deal to go to Liberia.
Okay.
But they never came back. Right? Once you left Liberia, you were in Liberia and you never went back to the U.S. That was the first time that a large population of black people, in that particular case, black men, went overseas, experienced other white people. Mm-hmm. And it was like, hey, things don't have to be like it is at home.
The treatment can be completely different.
The treatment can be completely different. And also, too, I'm deserving of better treatment because I fought for this country. My friends got blown up in my face. I lost an arm. I lost a this. I lost a that. I put my life in danger to help with the Nazis and all this other nonsense. And I come back home and I'm still getting spit on. And that was the catalyst of people saying enough is enough. Right? We were enduring before. We didn't like it, but we were enduring.
And what else did we know?
Right? But now we're like, wait a minute. Now I know better. Now I see that other people, when I walk around, they treat me with respect. Right? They don't look at me as a peon.
Yeah.
So I don't have to take that anymore. And I know how to defend myself.
Going to. Oh, yep.
Right?
Exactly.
Before, I might not have known how to defend myself before, but I can fight now. I'm military trained.
Okay, so you're right. Maybe it was more of he didn't know. Don Lemon didn't know, in this case, the history. and he's not willing to discuss
They
that
don't
because
speak
now
on things you don't know about.
this is true. Or this would have been a perfect handoff because he was also being rude to his co-host. She didn't get a word in. She's over here sitting here waiting patiently. Eventually, by the end of the clip, she's pulling out her phone on the side and stuff because it's like your non-factor.
What kind of show is this?
Right?
You got anchors talking to producers. You got the other anchor on her phone. Like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you see, you thought my audio malfunction was a bad thing. They were completely unprofessional on that. Or she was just waiting, and then she tried to say at the end when the guest was leaving, like, okay, maybe next time we'll get a chance to talk about China. And Don is just not having it. He's like, oh yeah, okay, it's over. Yes, next time. Like he just kind of cut it off, and I'm like, you're so disrespectful, so rude. I think.
And how did we get here? I imagine this conversation is supposed to be about the candidate. And talking about, hey, what can you give to whatever state that he's running for?
I would have liked to know what that was about. But Don
I don't know
was
how
like,
we got here.
I know more about black people, and that's it, and no one else can
How?
talk.
Which
is why I'm like, see, that's why I tried to set up the frame of he's used to being on his own show by himself.
What does Lemon Drop know?
I don't know. I wouldn't put him in the bucket of names of like, oh, he can, speak through and through about black people and history and moving forward and different things. I wouldn't choose that, but I don't know. Maybe other people would.
I mean, if he was disrespecting you, then yeah, sure. You can say, hey, man, I'm not going to take that on my own show.
Yeah.
But, if he's making if he has something to say, and actually, we got in the middle of the action, so we don't even know what the lead up was.
Yep.
But, which, a lot of these clips are like that. But if he is just saying, hey, that's not an accurate assessment, let him speak. Let him say why he thinks is inaccurate.
Yeah.
And then you can debate on that subject. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's ill-informed or whatever the case may be. And then go into why you think it's ill-informed.
Yeah.
But just to say, that's
not how liberals argue.
That is true. Sorry, foolish of me for not realizing who I was talking about.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think that was the last. What else do we have here? Let's see, one more thing on Don.
Don
Lemon. So anyways, we had all of that. Don has had a long history with them. He had his own show before. I think he's paid his dues. He's paid his time. He's actually, and also to add insult to injury with his show Sharing with the Women, he is their senior by 10 years, but also within the industry. Like I think their respective ages are like 57, 40, and something, 30 maybe for the other lady. So everyone's growing, and I mean, you can still work together, but you're right, it was a demotion. So maybe he's a little unhinged.
He's a little butthurt about that.
Yeah. Or he was just like, I'm just going to, do my thing, and then they're going to follow along because I'm the guy. I think he had a little bit of too much confidence in there, and he forgot, like, you don't own CNN, bro. Like,
you don't, and also, I don't know a lot of people who like watching you like that.
Yeah.
So
I used to watch him back in the day, but
I never watched him.
Or I generally watch CNN, and I guess mainly Anderson Cooper, and then him, but once they kept emphasizing the coming out thing and try to focus, they became the news. I wasn't as interested.
Yeah, I never really got into CNN. I just never really.
I was excited. I mean, there was a point where I always knew I wouldn't be necessarily on the news floor, like room, like in the fast paced part of it, but I do like to write. And there was one time I was so obsessed, and I was like, I'll go to Atlanta and go to the studios and maybe be an intern or something. And we saw it. Now, luckily, I never got into that world. It was until they.
Nice fancy building.
Yeah, until they destroyed it and put graffiti and everything. Now it has to be fenced up or moved. But through the pandemic. Riots and stuff. But anyways, we have here CNN's official statement. We thought. Just wait for it. CNN and Don have parted ways. Don will forever be a part of the CNN family, and we thank him for his contributions over the past 17 years. We wish him well, and we will be cheering him on in his future endeavors.
Cool.
Wait for it. Then we have Don. I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN. I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved at the network. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I have worked with for an incredible run. They are the most talented journalists in the business, and I wish them all the best.
Let's go.
That's the same thing for him and Tucker, right? It's like they were like, okay, not sayonara. They were like, okay, I'm signing off for tonight. See you next show. Like, this is so abrupt. But wait for it. CNN was not done. Okay. After that, since they did their, we parted ways, they came up with the next one. Because, of course, they were butthurt that he decided to go out like that. Don Lemon's statement about this morning's events is inaccurate. He was offered an opportunity to meet with management, but instead released a statement on Twitter.
Wait. Did this offer came after the fact?
Ooh, I wonder when the offer was made.
Right, like, because you said instead release a statement on Twitter. So did you release the fact that he was fired to the public and then said, hey, would you like to speak to management?
We were getting offered to the management.
I was like, at that point, no. Why would you? I'm fired, right?
I'm fired. What do I need to talk to you for about? I'm like,
it's over.
I'm not supporting Don Lemon in any way, but it's just interesting. Like, the disrespect of black people. I can't. Like, there's one level of the corporate disrespect of regular workers, but then on another level of black people. It's like, why are you talking to his agent? He was coming in to the next day for the show. Well, he was still there from the previous show.
At this point, I can't say it's disrespect to black people because Tucker got the
black
same.
Men?
No, because Tucker got the same treatment.
Okay, disrespect of men.
You could say that.
And I'd say even higher level of black men. But yes,
yeah,
at this point.
And I guess in general, you can say that. But for this particular case, I can't go with that because it's pretty consistent with what we've seen.
What do you mean?
Like, he didn't get any worse treatment than anybody else that we've talked about today.
Don Lemon?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know. How did Tucker find out?
We don't know.
We don't know how he found out. Well,
he
either he handled it better than Don.
He didn't. Now that's the thing. Tucker,
because Don went.
Tucker did not put any comment down. He hasn't made any statements at all.
Yeah.
And so he was working on his show Friday night in the beginning of Monday, found out on Monday. His staff was working on the show.
Okay.
So nobody knew until Monday.
They kept it hush hush.
Well, I don't know if they kept it hush hush, but like this management just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So it's the same situation like this, and it's the same situation with Google, right? Google just sent a bot and just started shutting off people's computers.
And that's where I would have to speak to corporate firing folks. And I mean, I guess when you say it that way with the bot, maybe it's not personal, but you have to be a little personal on the positive end when you're dealing with human beings that have worked for you and dedicated their lives to you and most likely thought they would retire with you at the company. No, I'm a little biased, y'all. If you can't tell in my voice, I don't approve of that type of firing.
I'm not saying that this is
throwing people in the trash.
Yes, I'm not saying that that's correct. What I'm saying is I don't think it's racial.
Okay.
That's my point. I think right now in recent times people don't care at all.
Okay.
They're just offing people.
People don't care at all. I think the racial element that I was putting in is Don Lemon got a little comfortable. He was thinking he was secure in his position because as a liberal on CNN, as a gay black man, and he's very vocal about things, he thought he was one of the women up there just like any other person.
Well, he's gay too.
Yeah. So, he thought he was secure and nobody's safe, especially not in this economy.
And as we're finding out, no one's safe. Especially, yes. I think that's probably what the lesson of today is that nobody is safe.
Of course, because there's also economic motivations.
Yeah, you're
those
going
people
through.
Are getting paid so high.
They're getting paid high. These companies are dying. They're not, ranking in as much money, I guess, as they need to sustain their operations, right? Yeah,
And whose fault is that? So I have to get fired because you didn't manage your budget?
Well, no, it's not about managing budget. It's about, the interest rates and the whole inflation thing has really kicked everybody in the teeth. And it happened so fast.
Yeah.
Like, just like with Google, right? With PayPal and in the inflation episode, we talked about all these tech companies having to lay off a bunch of people. We were going to touch a little bit today on Disney, but we're going to have to save that for another episode. But Disney has to lay off a bunch of folks. It's because things have gotten too expensive and it happened too fast and they're trying to adjust.
Well, that would explain the abrupt firings then.
Because it's like, look, we can't make payroll next month.
And then their actions just might have accelerated some of the, we can just do it now. And now apparently.
Now, to your point, yes, I do think you should actually give a little bit and talk to people and be like considerate of the fact that you're laying off folks. I know one of the people from Disney, his wife is currently dealing with cancer, and you just fired him. And so now he has to figure out, where am I going to get health insurance to pay for chemo? Right. So you could at least give people the decency of talking to them and saying, hey, unfortunately, we have to let you go. But it seems like on trend, at least what we've seen this year, these companies are just like, hey, look, whatever, send a bot, send a whatever. We're not talking to anybody face to face. We don't want to hear anybody's mouth about this. We've already made a decision. We're out.
They better have some kind of severance package.
I think in his particular situation, if based off of what his contract might say, he might have like a wrongful termination clause. He might have
Which one, the Disney guy or
any of these guys.
Yeah.
When it comes to
Lemon's looking into some wrongful termination or something. With his lawyer.
But these contracts,
because he was supposed to be there at least till 2026 for
right.
This.
So that's what I'm saying. I think when it comes to the on-air talent, all these guys are under contract. So it's like if you cut somebody, it doesn't mean that you stop from paying them. You still have to pay out their contract if they say, hey, you have to honor this contract. So
Yeah.
I don't know what his situation's like.
Yeah, and depending on the contract, there's obviously going to be room for that, right? If the contract terminates before said time,
There'll be a clause there.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody's thing is a little different. So I can't, this is all speculation at this point. But most of those people have language within their contract about situations like this. I know for Tucker, they still have to pay out his full contract. So whether he gets another gig or not, I think he's good.
Okay. Speaking on that note of another gig, so what do you think is next for Don Lemon?
He's gonna get picked up by somebody else, unfortunately. I'm not a fan, so I don't really care what happens to him like that. I think he needs to chill out, get off the high horse, go back to actually doing journalism. The whole
He did deviate a little bit.
yeah, I
maybe
think
a lot bit.
I think you need to, this might be a nice humbling moment for him. So this might be good. This might be good for him. I think he's an ass. So, I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, BET is an option. He can make his own thing. He can start his own podcast. These guys are millionaires, so it's like they have no rush to get back to work. This is not like the average Joe where it's like, ooh, I got to make sure I'm able to pay rent next month.
That's what's interesting about the sensationalizing of the, oh, they were fired. As if
Like,
it was the same thing as with us.
No, it doesn't
I
hurt
think
them
maybe
as-
more emotional damage.
Yes, emotionally, yes.
Ego.
But they're sitting in their nice, penthouse, maybe sipping a mimosa saying, oh, man, I don't have to go to work tomorrow. This sucks. But they're...
that might be a stunning revelation too, right? They've been going through the motions and they continued, unlike everyone else, during pandemic, we're kind of stopped. They had to keep going and they recorded from home and everything. This might actually be a much needed break. Be like, you know what? I don't actually give an ish about these people and what they want from me.
Think about Amy and that TJ guy.
I know.
Right? Like when they got fired, the first thing they did is they went out camping. Right? They're like, oh, okay, well.
Oh, those cheating people.
Right? Literally, locally, one of our TV anchors, I forgot that guy's name, but it's a black dude from Channel 2. He was like, he didn't say he got fired. He just said his time is ending. So I don't know what that means.
The recent guy, I think I saw that.
Kind of a buff dude, good looking dude.
Oh, I don't know, but okay.
Anyway, he's going somewhere, but he
you really want me to answer that. I'm gonna go ahead.
But he didn't say what his next move is, but he said he's just gonna take a break. And it's like, yeah, you could do stuff like that because you're not. He also has, I think, other businesses too, and I think he also does some training on the side and some modeling.
Okay, well,
So
that's
he's
what
fine.
would make a difference because you're saying, oh, these people are millionaires, yeah, but they probably also have expenses that are really high.
True, but a lot of these guys also have investments,
Yeah.
so they're getting money from different streams. So they're fine. They're okay. Unless you're just really bad with money, then that sucks. Your whole life is going to probably change then real quick. But if you weren't bad with
the
money,
financial aspect, yeah.
then you're all right. I'm not worried about you. But yes,
Well, it's a storm, y'all.
it's a storm. Watch out. Everybody's getting got out here. welcome to 2023, the year of inflation, the year of layoffs, the year of, oh man, I got to count my pennies. Speaking of counting pennies, we got to count ours, which we also have to count those subscribing numbers. Like, subscribe. All of you guys.
Tap the notification bell. Don't miss an episode. We'll be back next Tuesday. Thank you, guys.
Yes, and if you have any suggestions for future episodes, let us know in the comment section below.
Yeah. Stay next to the community tab on YouTube. Look for our questions, our polls. Get involved. Bye.